All right, I think it's recording. Cool. All right.
I'm gonna crawl, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's the RH.
Okay. So, sure. See me here. Okay. So, as Sales House was going on, I was realizing how much they overlap. It's kind of cool. I didn't know this, but we're going to talk about some of the similar things, but also a bit of context. I think Daniel showed these two classes for that reason. I just didn't know it. Classes. So one more bit before I start. Throughout this class, I'm going to be saying I'm being important, so I have to stay like this.
You don't have to, it's fine.
I move, I do things. I don't stay. But I'm teaching. Okay, anyways, whenever I say the word repetition, I want all of you to repeat the word repetition together back to me as I'm teaching, because there's going to be a lot of things in this, and this is very important. So let's practice. So repetition. Repetition. Perfect. Love it. All right. So what do you think of when I say little kids? What script words come to mind? Okay.
Teachable.
What?
Teachable.
Teachable. Preschoolers, small in stature, short attention span, little kids are active. Sure. Little kids are active. They're unique. They're noisy. They're caring, playful. They're emotional. They're energetic. They're frustrated. They're lovable. They are all kinds of, from this breadth to this breadth of craziness. Okay, and their energy skyrockets and then plummets the next second because they're tired and they judge. Okay, so they are little energy bunnies and just okay. They are little energy bunnies, but today we're going to be talking about why do we teach them? Why is teaching little kids important? What are they like mentally, personality wise, physically, and how to teach them along with other concerns that have evolved. The first, why do we teach them? Well, the first reason is scripturally. Scripturally here, scripturally according to Deuteronomy 31, 12, and 13 says this: assemble the people, men, women, and little ones, and the sojourner within your towns, that they may learn to fear the Lord your God, and be careful to do all words of this law, and that their children who have not known it may hear and learn to fear the Lord as long as you live in the land we're going to says. So, not only does it say men, women, this is little children. When I say little children, we're talking about like preschool age, as high as maybe kindergarten and is what I'm saying. Kindergarten, yeah. It's kind of what I would, but in my mind, that's kind of once you hit for first grade, in my mind, that's elementary, and no longer little kids. My brain, that's what Trump says. And so this verse is talking about the set of verses. It's talking about men, women, and little ones, even sojourner, meaning someone who's traveling through town. Teach them about God and have them fear the Lord God. So Scripture teaches us to teach them even when they're young. they're capable to learn and to understand. So that's the words there. It's learning and understanding. Learning and understanding. Isaiah 28, 9 and 10. I chose this one because the Second Timothy 1 I had heard a lot, and I wanted to choose the other one that I hadn't heard as much. And I realized why I heard as much. So we're going to say this with much maturity as possible. You understand what I mean in a second. All right, baby. To whom we will teach the knowledge, and to whom we explain the message. The message of the gospel. God, those who are weaned from milk, those who are taken from the breast, for it is precept upon precept, for it is line upon line, and is there a little and here. So to whom will we teach these things? Whom will we teach the gospel? Those who are weaned from milk, meaning they're really young. This verse saying they're really young. So to those who have been taken from the breasts, meaning they are like, I don't. You guys would know better than me how that is. I don't. But they're really young, as it says. For it is precept upon precept, meaning it is small amounts, line upon line, small amounts, and a little here, a little there. So it's small amounts, but in repetition.
Repetition.
In that, even in that verse, there is repetition.
Repetition.
It is precept upon precept, line upon, and a little here and a little there. There's this thing of they can understand and they can learn even that young age, small amounts, and in a way of repetition.
Repetition.
All right. Back right there for a second. Don't believe that. All right. You can tell you're getting all of that. All right. All right. So what?
She should go and give you a massage.
Oh, no, I'm fine now. That's why I went to my back.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Okay, ready. Okay, next. They are lost in sin. And we are responsible as a second. And we are responsible for even the young sheep. According to Matthew 18:14. Now, this whole section here, I'll give you a little bit of context, is the parable of the lost sheep. It's a parable of lost sheep. And this takes place, this verse at the very end. The very last verse in that story says this. So it is not the will of my Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. It is not the will of my Father who is in heaven, not one of these little ones should perish. Now this gets into when I was in like sixth grade. I remember asking a lot of questions about this because I was curious. This starts to get into like age of accountability stuff, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But in my personal opinion, the age of accountability is not a specific age; it's a moment where your brain can understand what things are going on. So, in my personal opinion, I think that was get into this later. But if ever you're put into a situation where you know what the right thing to do is, but you're choosing actively to do the wrong thing, you have sinned and you have gone over that age, whatever that. And it's, I don't think it's necessarily the age, but it's just that action of and we'll get into that a little bit later. And this dabbles at that a little bit in that it does say that the little ones should perish. It's not the little ones should perish. They're lost in sin, and we are responsible even. Yeah. Lastly, D here for this section. Children are becoming hardened. It's like they're hardened. They are becoming hardened to the gospel at a younger age than ever before. So there is a growing urgency to reach them as young children. A growing urgency to reach them as young children. You've heard a Bible story millions upon millions of times. Whenever a Bible story comes into your brain, like of course for me it's probably the Christmas reader story. I've heard that all my life. I grew up in a Christian family, and I know it's and so that's off topic. So there's certain stories that I know for myself that I've heard a bunch of times. So if I sit through it again, it tends to, unless something is there to catch my attention that's new, usually just goes over my head and I'm not at it. But the same is true for even children these days, especially children who are raised inside the church. Those children who are in Sunday school, babies, right? Their heart becomes hardened. You've heard the story a bunch of times, so things just tend to go around them. They're not really grasping onto the meaning and the application of it, unless you give them a reason to, right? Just give them something to latch onto that's new, and bring in some point of application to be like, yes, you've heard the story a bunch of times, now let's play it. And that's important. So next one. What are kids like? Are little kids like physically? They love to play. They love to play. Their muscles are developing, bodies are developing. They need the time, space to play. They really want that. Things such as role plays, play acting situations inside of a Bible story could definitely help you in that. To be able to play like a field game time beforehand, to be able to run around and get some of the energy out, super helpful. There was a club this summer, a 5-day club, that Salem and I taught that. Actually, Luann was there. That had some. That was the youngest 5-day club that I think we taught at. That had some younger kids. Group. And I remember like the very first day that I taught that, I taught like I would normally teach, and I was like, these kids are bored. And that's what clicked for me, that I'm like, oh, I actually need to do this differently. And so from that day on, I tried to make an effort to involve them more in teaching instead of just teaching, which I think is pretty involving. But I could be wrong. So yeah, so they need that. They need to be with you, and they need to be interacting with mentally. They are curious. Why is that blade of grass green? Why is the sky blue? What is she doing? They're curious. They're curious about the world around them. They're curious about what they're learning. Their brains are just soak up all this knowledge. They're curious. Me and Sailor teach at a Good News Club called My Father's House. It's a family shelter that we teach at. That club especially, and they love to ask questions, and they'll ask questions about genuinely good things to ask questions. They'll ask questions about heaven. They'll ask questions about God. They'll ask questions about whatever is going on in the story. They ask questions often, like more so than I've seen any other. And so we allow them to do that because well, it's a family shelter, so imagine the families are in that, those kind of kids. They need someone to work out that connection. And so they're observing, learning, and asking questions all the time. They learn through their senses. We're going to later in this it's gonna be the fun part. But later in this we're gonna talk about the senses and how they and so I would encourage you to use methods that appeal to those centers. This is kind of what Sayla was talking about, and there'll be more of that. They're also lastly in this section, they are literal minded. They're literal minded. They think very literally. I think very literally. And I also call myself a useful person. If you literally told me there's people by me right now, and I would look. I'm very global, but I also think things very literally. Daniel, our boss, Dan. I don't know why I said that. Is very adept when it comes to sarcasm. I am not, and so he has to take it to the umpteenth level in order for me to actually realize it's sarcasm, because otherwise I will not get it. And so it's kind of. Anyways, I say that because children as well are very literal minded, and their minds are growing. They don't know the concept of sarcasm. Next, socially, they're very self-centered. I'm going to take a step down here. They're self-centered. The world revolves around them. Their wants, their needs, their ideals. Their world revolves around them. So teach concepts like taking turns, sharing, things like that to break some of those things. Emotionally, they're vulnerable. These emotions, they wear their hearts on their sleeves. They're very emotional. They have their emotions on the surface. They show them. Their feelings can easily get hurt. So I would encourage you to find security, a place of belonging, a place of helping them to build their self-esteem. They are trusting. They're very trusting. So be accurate and truthful, and keep your word. Keep your word to what you're saying. Lastly, in this session, spiritually, they believe. They are believers. They believe very easily. Now, they are believers in often at this age. They're believers in class. They're believers in. They can be believers in Jesus. They believe what you're saying. That's what I was trying. It's not. When I read that verse, I was like, well, no, they have to accept the gospel and be believers. And realize, oh wait, no, it just means they believe anything. So they can believe Santa Claus, they can believe you, they can believe Jesus as well. They eagerly accept the Bible and the truth. They're capable of receiving basic Bible instructions. So I would encourage you to teach through repetition. And give opportunity response. So teach through repetition. And know that their relationship with you, the teacher, will affect their view on God. It's often seen or said that their relationship with father will affect their view on God, which is true, very true. But also, but especially if like you're the spiritual person in their life, then how you act, how you teach will affect their view of God. Now, if they have a Sunday school teacher or a pastor, less so, but it still will, if that makes sense, because you're not the only spiritually. If that's the case. Any questions? Am I going too fast? Okay, any questions, bring them up. How to teach little kids. Be prepared, and organized. Where's my favorite Disney song by
Yes.
that's why I did that. It's from last. Be prepared and organized. Plan your time well. Plan your time well and be sure that you know what you're about to do and that you're doing into what you're doing. Study your lesson and class time thoroughly. So study your lesson thoroughly. Make sure you're studying beforehand so that if things come awry, so you're flexible, then you can move things around if need be. Have a written agenda, written or typed. Have a written agenda set aside beforehand, so that you know what to expect, and make sure you follow it. Again, if something goes awry, just be flexible. But have a written agenda. Prepare for interruptions. Again, something's gonna go awry. So be prepared time-wise for interruptions. Have your materials organized. And a 5-day club. Again, it's my first year doing 5-day. I've been doing this for 1 year. 5-day event. Amazing. Literally my first event last year ever was the kickoff. Right now. And so it was just kind of surreal. Anyways, and so the 5-day club, I learned we have something called stack. And a stack allows you to do the things you're going to do first on top, the things you're going to do last lesson plan on the bottom, so that if, say, I'm teaching the first thing, just say the word up, I'm teaching the word up, and I have my hand, the next thing is showing, say Salah's teaching whatever the next thing is, she knows that she's the deck, she's well, and it's just rotation, whatever you're doing. So having materials worth the next. Do you use restrooms?
No, I do. Excellent.
Okay. Involve the children. Involve them. And involve them. Have them be helpers. Have them pass out papers, have songs, visuals, have them handouts. Role playing, have them act out events inside the story. Prayer, maybe if you're old enough, they pray. Meaning old enough that they can make us talk. Something like that. They pray, or maybe have specific requests that they can pray for, maybe share prayer requests. Action songs, sing songs that motion and things to do and move around a little bit. It's important. Sing songs that have repetition.
Repetition.
Awesome. Let's do it one more time. Repetition.
Repetition.
Perfect. All right, and then lastly, questions. Questions. Asking them questions, like fun review games, but also give them opportunity to ask you questions. All right, now, in my opinion, this is the fun part. We are gonna do how to teach little kids accent senses. Accent senses. So, anyone tell me what? Well, it's on the game. So. No, thank you for it.
There is.
There's a minute. I know. The senses. See. So use a variety of visuals, pictures, objects, shapes, colors. Talk about visuals. Ask them questions, and ask them they see. One of the things with each of these, I'm gonna tell a story, and we're gonna explore who senses me. So for seeing a story that I remember, but you guys know what Awana is? Okay, so I grew up in Awana, and in Awana, I remember one from Cubbies. Wow, it's a long time ago. I remember one from Cubbies. Do you want to know why I remember one from Cubbies? It's because the leader, she had the most of the lights off in the room, besides where she was teaching. And then she had fish. Had a light. It's a think of a fish in it. It's clean. Fish in it. It's clean. She was talking about creation. She was talking about creation of animals, creation of earth and stuff. I was looking at fishing. This is really cool. And she explained factoids about the fish inside the fish tank. And so being able to see that, experience that in the way of seeing what she was talking about the animals there was really cool for my company brain to be like, ooh, fishies. So that's something that I remember because next is hearing. Use your voice creatively. If you can do voice acting, do it. Like you could have a voice of Mary and have a different voice of Joseph. Then do it. To depict different characters in the lesson, maybe even have children depict different characters, but just their voices. You don't have to do things, you can. But also, if you don't want to have them actually act it out, you could just have them speak. Have them. When I was in 8th grade, I had a social studies teacher named Mr. Carlson. He had red hair just like me. He was a great guy and one of my favorite teachers. Mr. Carlson, one of the main lessons I remember from him was World War I. Why are this? Is those particular lessons one day you would enter his classroom, there'd be styrofoam and there would be gray painted paper over the styrofoam leading into his classroom. He would teach from the classroom and then it would go into no classroom would be styrofoam painted paper. On it would be like painted, not real, painted on there would be like barbed wire, fence posts and stuff, because he wanted to that be a lesson on church warfare and what that was. And so in this classroom speakers, he would play fake gunshots and thunder and rain, and he would teach as you're like crouched in this trench little thing. But I remember that because of what I heard, because of the things that I was experiencing while he was teaching. Touching. Use a variety of visuals, objects, different shapes, textures, nature. Let the children handle the lesson pictures. Now, I brought my own. It's a horn. I'm gonna blow it. I'm gonna try. Not very good at it. So might give me good tries. And then I'm gonna pass it around. I'll wipe it off. I'm gonna tell you this: do not blow it. But feel free to pass it around and touch it. Let's see. So, and if you're yeah, please. So touching, experiencing something via touch. Now, for us adults, we've seen some really cool things. So this horn may not be as cool to us as a kid who hasn't experienced it. They're a laptop. They see that, they're like, what the heck is this? And so experiencing that, being able to see something like that for the very first time, no touching. The next thing, sorry, Luann, I don't have any baked goods for you. But it's tasting. The next thing is tasting. And Sailor, you can just keep that there as not tasting. Tasting. Use foods mentioned or defined inside a lesson for the children to try. Like example foods for maybe fishing foods, or from the Bible story. Now, this is a disgusting lesson, but it's a lesson that I learned. I was old enough to not know this. That I should know this, but I didn't. I was like 12 or 13. I remember somewhere in that age. I was at my grandparents' house. He just had business gravy. Just had business in I wanted milk. So I go ran, so I popped up to the fridge, milk jugs, son, what? And it's a milk jug. And I'm like, that's strange. It's me, it's frozen. Started drinking. Ew! It was not good. It was sour milk. It was not good. And I'm like, what is this? So I learned that day what sour milk was. I had no clue. I didn't know it was a thing. So I learned what sour milk was. I learned it by tasting it, unfortunately, but I did. So now I know there's milk with chunks in it. Don't drink it. And so I learned it by tasting it. Lastly, smelling. Smelling. Use items related to the lesson that have aroma, foods, spices, perfumes, incense. Use things that have aroma. Let them use their imagination and pretend to smell the aromas of flowers that are evident in the Western speech. Now, this isn't the story because I couldn't think of the story, but I thought of some examples. If you would like to do something with smelling, I thought of an example again, the Christmas story. Example of maybe bring in that's an expensive example, but a sheep or something that would have been inside of where Jesus was walking. Or maybe bring in some hay, or maybe literally bring in a manger if you can. That's something you can do. If that's something that you can do, let it bring in something. Maybe something a little bit cheaper, hay, or is that cheap? I don't know. I just assume. Okay. Okay. So bring in something you can smell, something that you can experience and smell. Now, do you think you can come up with all of those things? 20 minutes beforehand?
No.
Exactly. So if you're gonna do something that's being described, make sure that you're planning it well ahead so that you can do that. Right? And make sure that you have enough time for you to prepare as well. All that is super important inside that experience. Okay. Next thing, how to teach little kids. Review often. Often is the word there. Reinforce your lesson in a variety of ways. Review games, songs, role play, object lessons. And the children can retell your lesson using visuals. That's good. They can retell it themselves. And young children learn through repetition.
Repetition.
Love it. So review often, be able to have their experiences. Plan a pre-session time. This is often like a check-in time, as it's describing, a check-in time. So if you have name tags for registration form that they sign or something, plan a time where they can have a booth where they can color at, music or something, talk with them, have a pre-session time to be able to build a friendship with these kids and have that time be kind of short. Get this registration time, it's probably like 5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes max, something short. To build that relationship. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do that. That's what it is. Have a routine. Plan enough ahead of time. Plan enough ahead of time so you can have a routine that you're doing to provide security so that they know what's going to happen, but also have variety to some extent. To have interest in the same thing. Lose interest, especially as they grow. Lose that interest. So to have varieties. If a child is not responding the way that you want them to a particular part of the lesson, be flexible. What I mean by that is to interact with them more. Don't especially you're doing like a Bible lesson and they're just not paying attention. I'm not saying stop the lesson and don't do it again. What I'm saying is change the way you're doing the lesson to be fed. Help them to be interested inside of the story. Be friendly. Be a friendly teacher. Smile. Bing. Speak to them at eye level. You need to bend your knees and speak to them at eye level. Do that. Make it personal. Use their names. Show interest in them as individuals. Their likes, what they enjoy doing. Be patient. Be generous. Give encouragement. All that's important. Be friendly. That they look forward to seeing. Areas of concern. Areas of concern. Discipline. First one here. Talked about this in our kickoff class a little bit. I'll touch on that a little bit. It's hot. Anyways, discipline is your word there. Be loving, yet firm. Discipline the behavior and not the child. What does that mean? That means discipline them when they're doing the behavior. Not before, not after. Discipline them, meaning if you're teaching and they're disrupting, discipline them then. Not before, not after, then. Does that make sense? That's what you do. You're disciplining them. Have well-defined rules. Visualize that. We have something called the UPS rules, right? Call the UPS rules. Present them. Have them be consistent every single time. Give positive guidance. Do this instead of don't do this or don't do that. Do this instead. This should be obvious, but maybe not. Don't use God's love as a tool to get good. I know, right? To me, that was obvious.
But you give an example because I've heard. Okay, if you give an example, because I've heard that, I'm like, oh, I've never really thought of that. So, meaning how you even use God's love.
So, meaning saying this would came to mind for me if you do this behavior again, God doesn't which seems out of the box and not anyways. So I don't even know why it's there, but yeah.
It could be that, God's not happy with that. I mean, you have to be careful. I mean, it's true, but it's maybe get them to say, but it's more we want to please God with what we do, in a positive way. But I'm thinking there's an era in the past, certain communities where they were pretty much about fear of God.
If you, I mean, I guess now I have heard of especially when it comes to the LGBT stuff, there is a lot of that, in the Christian community, yes, like, you participate in this.
Go to hell.
God probably wants you to hell because of that. There is those kind of sayings. Now that you say that, my brain goes back, which is extreme, but it does go to. Because that is something that's, of course, anyways. So I guess that would be something. So I guess it's saying don't do that. Don't say those things. Next B. Oh, I'm sorry. There's those. Memory work. I'll be sure to tap it. Memory work. That's 2 words. I put 2 words on there because I was like, memory work. Shorten the verses when it's needed to be short. And I would encourage you to not underestimate their ability to do that. They can memorize movie, especially if you have several class sessions. Explain carefully. Remember, they're literal thinkers. They're literal minded. So explain carefully what the verses mean. Pay careful attention. Repeat often. Spend several class sessions on verse. Repetition. That is the key. Repeat those things over. Songs from Unite TV do that. If you want to not use that version, repeat it over. Use a game. Repeat it. All those things. Repetition. Right. Use role play, pictures, smells, hearing. Use their senses. Use their senses, have them experience the story for themselves. If you can, not only can, involve the home. Involve the home, involve their parents. Send home papers. Try and recruit parents to help teach their kids. I'm not talking about in the club, but have to teach them. Have them help with. Not always the case, because sometimes you have kids who didn't grow up in a Christian family and are going to your club, and their parents aren't. And maybe that's just not. Just don't want to. But if it is possible, so use incentives such as stars, stickers, smiley faces, a chart of some kind to get to a report. Make sure to let them all do their own. Next, I'm going too fast. Okay, we're almost done. Next, what? Oh, you use it. Yeah. I mean, this goes to 8:30, so yeah. Can a little child be saved? Saved. Child be saved. Can a little child be saved? Scripture clearly teaches that the invitation for salvation is extended in a very young child. This is where we get to the age of accountability I was talking about. When they know the difference between right and wrong, they are then lost. According to James 4:17, says this. So whoever knows the right thing to do fails to do it for him. And so, if you know in situations something is right, something is wrong, actively choose wrong. That is sin. And that's where the invitation comes. Invitation. I just realized you didn't get a student. So 2 points.
Is that a picture of you?
That is not. I need some funny coincidence. The invitation. Now I wish I had a picture, but that's not. That's
Which is just in the similarity, you're standing right
No,
there.
totally.
That's what I thought, I have to say this, even though I didn't.
No, I love it. That's awesome. And then
Yeah.
I throw myself off treadmills all the time. So the invitation, tell them the importance of Christ without meaning something along lines of manipulating their emotions, meaning this isn't fire and brimstone, like anger, like God's gonna hate you. But present it in a way that they obviously need it without installing fear inside their minds to force them to need it. If that makes sense. So this is a part of it too, reason why we do this. Have specific time. So in the 5-day clubs, we would teach, and then one of us would go in the back and do the next thing. We would tell them ahead of time, hey, want to come and talk about what we talk about, want to accept Christ, I'll get back, talk to me. That gives them the reason to stand up and actively continue. Instead of like what churches normally do, I did with the workplace, CF, raise your hand if you're expressed. Literally the first Good News Club I ever taught, I did that because I didn't know better, and Daniel did it afterwards. Like, here's the reason why we don't. And it's like, oh, okay, got it. So, and so it gives them the opportunity to come back to you actively. Counseling for salvation. Oh, there's counseling for salvation. Present them the message of salvation carefully, clearly. Please use a calm voice. Ask questions. Ask questions of readiness. Are you ready to do these things? You may use tract, Bible, words, book. Use things. If they seem to not be ready, then you can still pray with them and send them back. Be sure to tell them that, hey, we to do this again. Any questions before I go on to the yes, you have a question.
I'm confused about how old a child can be before he has reached the age of reason. Because I just don't know if too many 3-year-olds are really good. They might know about Jesus, they died on the cross, and they know right and wrong. My children knew right and wrong at age 3. So if they die, did that mean what happens to them? They go to hell at 3?
Say a little apparently say differently, but I would also say, yeah, if they are actively choosing, this would be personally, not see it.
Oh, okay.
This would be personally. If they're actively choosing the wrong thing at any age, and they know what the right thing to do is, then yes. But I do think that also they have the opportunity to accept Christ. That's harsh. That's true. In my person, I don't see yet. But apparently, Sarah would say she shook her head.
What would you say, Santa?
Very similar to what David said. But again, we don't know what that age is,
Yeah.
and we also know that gives us a lot of grace and mercy.
True.
And so I would say that the majority of kids 3 or under are probably. But then again, I don't, we don't know exactly where their heart is. We don't, God does.
Well, my grandsons, Henry, I'm not sure how old he was, maybe 6 or 7 when he accepted Christ. But Sam he has a rare disease and he seems to be normal, but he's mature, he's not as mature.
Yeah,
So even though he's 11, he's going to Good News Club and he really likes it and he seems more open now.
yeah, definitely. And that's why we say with age probability, it can't really depend on the age, because with people with disabilities, if they have any type of, mental thing, there might be people that never actually get to that age of probability because their mental capacity will never get there.
Well, he doesn't have, he's on grade level, but
Right.
I don't think he's not as mature.
Yeah, that's totally, that's, again, like I say, like, I think there are some people, depending on what their mental capacity is, may never reach that age.
I'm not exactly sure. My son was about, either he was 5 or in the 2nd grade. When he accepted Christ, he was there. Okay, now he hasn't gone to church in 20 years. So, was he a Christian when he accepted Christ as a child?
That's God to decide, that's for God to know, and for him to know.
And for us.
See,
to get-
these children
For
are
us.
accepting Jesus as their Savior. Yeah, that's really good, but what are they like when they're in high school? Or
We don't know,
See,
but
we don't know.
we proclaim the gospel, trusting that God is.
And we keep praying.
Yes,
And like, okay, last night,
it's not for us to know all of this, he just asks us to get off this.
I had the opportunity to counsel a fighter. Actually, 2 of them. One, she was talking over the map, and so there were 2 adults in there, and then, so we just let her talk, and then we excused her to go back to, she kind of was like, she wanted to stay and visit, it's like, and then the other one, I mean, she could give you all the answers, and she seemed sincerely giving you the answers that it was true, it was very good, but she has Christian parents, and I'm sure they're sharing the gospel. But when it came down to time to pray, she started to pray phrase after phrase after me. She didn't want to do it on her own. She's really shy. But it came down, she didn't want to do it. And I said, that's okay. I said, but we talked then with her that this is what you need to know. And then we'll talk to you, if you feel like you want to do this at any time, you can do this. I give an example. Okay, the kids in my brother's family, they've all prayed at 3 and 4 for salvation. And then one of the daughter's kids now were like, I think the first little sister, she was 3. And then she starts evangelizing her little brothers so that they're all like preschoolers. And so it's like, I can't think of a kid wanting to evangelize anybody else if they really didn't have that set. But she did it by herself. She went to bed after her parents left. She said, God and Jesus, they say that in Sunday school land at home, they say that he can come to you, that anybody can come to you. Is that right? Is that true? Can I come to you? And God and Jesus said, yes, you can come. She said, well, I want to come to you. And so she told her parents the next day, and they said, okay, so they talked it over with her, and kind of, what we do as adults, it's like we ask all the questions, and then we don't know, they said, well, just watch her and see if there's a heart change and see if there's and there appeared to be, and I mean, that she turned out to be the evangelist. And so.
How old is she now?
14.
What is she like now?
Well, I don't see her as much anymore, but she's still shy and she's now changing from homeschool to Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but that's the hardest part about it. I'm not with them as much anymore. So and all I know is that just keep praying. Don't ever quit praying. And until you get, and like they used to say in prayer meetings, one that used to say, push pray until something happens. So in other words, you don't give up until you get, yeah. That's the kind of pushing we can.
Do I answer the question?
Yeah, it's not so cut and dry as that, but
It's not,
It's not.
no, because
there's no.
you can say,
Oh, it's not.
you can say from your knowledge all this, but when you've experienced it, it's different. You know, I have a son that's not in church for 20 years, and he says he's a Christian, and I think he could be a Christian. So we took him to church, we took him to different activities and all that. So what happened? You know, and what happened to the church? And why are there so many kids today that are not in church? Not just kids, but adults that are not in church today.
Yeah.
What's happened? You know, we have to just look at all that. It's not just.
It's not cut and dry, just.
But I'm glad for CEF because they're learning about Jesus at an early age. And they're gonna hear that gospel over and over again until finally it'll get them.
Yeah.
And so whatever age they are, it'll get.
And I think we can continue this conversation after.
All right,
Class.
all right.
I know, well, go ahead and finish.
Okay. So, little kids indeed are active, they are unique, noisy, they're curious, they're growing, like, they're energetic, they are trusting, they're frustrated, they're lovable. Also, future Sunday school teachers, our future pastors, our future missionaries. So to make an effort to teach them, to make an effort to put in the time to share the gospel with them is very important. And so I would just encourage you that these things are active and are important, and they are really, really good things. That's the end of the official announcement. Selah mentioned Jeopardy. I'm not gonna actually play it, so don't forget that. But this is something that I made